Andrew Cogliano's impressive Ironman streak will be coming to an end due to a 2-game suspension imposed by the NHL. Today we're going to discuss the impressive streak as well as the suspension. And that's coming up next. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. If you're new to the channel, thanks for stopping by. If you love unbiased hockey talk on all 31 NHL teams, consider subscribing and clicking the bell so you don't miss anything. Unfortunately, Andrew Cogliano's streak of 830 consecutive games to start his career is going to come to a crashing halt here as he's been handed out a 2-game suspension for interference and a high hit to the head on LA Kings forward Adrian Kempe from the weekend. If you take a look at the play itself, if you haven't seen it though, there is a link in the description. So you can take a look at it in case you haven't seen it so you can have a chance to watch it and form your own opinion here. That game between the Kings and the Ducks, which is one of the biggest rivalries in the NHL, where you can actually say the teams legitimately do not like each other, was a very chippy affair with all kinds of action going on that was debatable. Things were certainly getting a little rough to say the least. So I think what happened here is I think Andrew Cogliano kind of got caught up in that mess that was going on within the game and ended up making a mistake here. If you watch the play, you can see that Kempe comes through the neutral zone, dishes off the puck to a teammate, and he had the time. Like, there was at least a 1-second delay. I think the NHL player safety video says there was a good 1-second delay between him dishing the puck off and receiving the hit. When Cogliano came at him, it's clearly interference because he no longer had the puck, and it wasn't a case where, you know, sometimes it is legal once you pass the puck you can still take your check. But this is not one of those scenarios, and enough time had passed that it was considered late. And when Cogliano came at him, he kind of came with an upward forward motion with a fair bit of force and ended up making contact with the head. So he was only given a 2-minute minor penalty for interference. I'm a little bit surprised it wasn't a major penalty. There does seem to be some inconsistencies with the calls this year. There's a lot of confusion, and you can't really watch a play like that anymore and have a black and white cut and dry answer where like, yep, it's definitely this and he's going to get this. Like, there's no predictability anymore. There were certainly some other situations we've seen recently where you would think a player might get suspended and they weren't. So a little bit of confusion around what things are nowadays, but the only thing that you can't doubt here is pretty cut and dry in the fact that the hit was late, the puck was long gone, so he's no longer eligible to be hit. So there's that. So it's definitely a penalty. And because he used a lot of force and made contact with the head, that makes the play suspendable. I mean, unfortunately, it's, I don't know. Like, I feel bad for the guy. He's had 830 consecutive games to start his career. He had probably the rest of this year and next year to close in on the record holder, Doug Jarvis, to break the record. A lot of people thought he would do it. He's remained very healthy. And hasn't missed any games due to injury, and unfortunately the streak is going to end over something silly like this where he got caught up, I think, in a moment and just made one bad choice. Cogliano's not a dirty player at all, doesn't have a reputation of such. Obviously, for to have the streak that he has, he's never been suspended before, and this is not something that falls into something you would expect from him. So he was given a 2-game suspension. I don't think the league has any way around it. Obviously, they probably didn't want to see the streak come to an end either. But the fact of the matter is, this is pretty black and white, a suspendable play. That's just the way it is. So I feel bad for Cogliano. But take a look at the footage in the description if you haven't seen it. And let me know your thoughts, if you agree or not, whether or not this was a suspendable play. In my opinion, it is. And I think it should have also been a major penalty in the game. I think this is the case where the referees got it wrong. So I'm a little bit surprised that it wasn't a harsher penalty in the first place, but either way, clean history. 2 games is more than sufficient. It's sad to see the streak come to an end because of something like this, but it's just the way it is, and I can't disagree with it, unfortunately. So I thought while we're doing this video talking about the fact that he's suspended and the streak has come to an end, why don't we take a look at the Ironman streak in general just to see how it really shapes up in NHL history. Currently, the record holder is Doug Jarvis with a record of 964 games. Now, that's quite something when you think about how rough the game can be at times and the number of injuries we see. That's very impressive. Now, Doug Jarvis also had his streak from the start of his career. So Jarvis and Cogliano are the top 2 longest streaks to start your career of all time. So the total number of games consecutively played is actually ranks 4th all time, but to start a career, he's 2nd all time. So very, very impressive accomplishment. And if it wouldn't have been for this bad choice, I think he probably would have broke the record or had an excellent shot at doing so. Now, since he's 4th and Jarvis is 5th, let's take a look at who's in the middle here. Number 2, we have Gary Unger, 914 games. And we have Steve Larmer, the longtime Chicago Blackhawks star, 884 games. So obviously this is not something that's easily accomplished. It's something that, the way the game is played, it's so fast, it's so hard hitting at times. It's not a wonder why players miss action from time to time due to injury. But these guys have been able to sustain, quite a durability in their career. So certainly congratulations to Andrew Cogliano on a very, very impressive streak. So it's unfortunate it comes to an end this way, but it is what it is. Now, if you take a look at who are the new current Ironmen in the NHL, there's certainly some impressive streaks still ongoing as well. The new leader right now is Keith Yandle, 675 games. Obviously, Yandle's played a long time, and that's not from the start of his career, though. None of the active Ironmen are from the beginning of their careers, so they obviously all missed time early on. But Yandle's the current leader, 675 games. Patrick Marleau, the ageless wonder, he's at 669. So obviously that's going to continue on as the season goes on. So Marleau, even at his age, obviously he's got 2 more years under contract with the Leafs. Well, I guess we'll have to see how long he ends up playing for. But depending on how long he goes, the way he's been playing, maybe he'll have a shot. So let me know, what do you think? Do you think either Yandle or Marleau will have a shot at breaking Jarvis's record? I don't know. It's going to be tough, but it certainly seems like it's possible. Just depends on how long they play, really. Besides them, the other 2 most impressive streaks are Phil Kessel, the Penguins, 654 games, and Carl Alzner, 582 games, currently with the Montreal Canadiens. So obviously those are all very impressive. If you look at some players and how often they miss games due to injury, all of these guys deserve accolades for being so durable in their careers. It's unfortunate that Cogliano Streak comes to an end, but like I said, I've seen the highlights. I can't disagree with the suspension at all, and it's just it's a kind of a sad thing. I kind of would have liked to have seen the record be broken, especially for a guy like Cogliano, who's a well-respected player. He normally plays really hard. Considering he's for the most part of his career been a top 9 or bottom 6 forward, it's especially a major accomplishment. And this could have really been the streak's probably the highlight of his career, and breaking the record would have been something to kind of set himself into history a little bit more. So it's a little bit unfortunate and sad from that perspective, but it is what it is. He made a bad choice. He's got to pay the consequences. Don't forget to follow us on social media. You'll see our Twitter handle on the screen right here, so check us out on Twitter at Top Shelf Hockey Vids. We're also on Facebook and Instagram. All of our social media links are in the description below, so check us out on those platforms. We do have extra different content besides our videos on there as well, and we'd love to have more hockey conversations with you, our viewers, and that's a good place to do it. Thanks very much for watching, everybody. We'll catch you next time.